Okay, guys. I'm gonna grab all of the deep slate I've got, and we're gonna start building the Great Wall of Jathinki. Um, but I think what I want to do before then, I'm gonna enchant some more books. I've got these little brewing stands from the dead village. It's so sad to say that, but it's true. It's a ghost town now, a husk of its former self. It'll never be what it was. And that's just how it is. I want to have tripwire, dude. I've never been able to really use tripwire, but I would love to use it against the Illagers. I want to show them who's boss. I want to put like little lava dispensers and just really fuck them up. I think that'd be sick. Alright, cool. Let's go. Let's fortify. Let's do this shit. I have some very fun stories to tell you guys. I've just been at work. My coworkers are probably seeing my insane list of topics to talk about. So one of my topics that I had written down was I have a story about thumb sucking. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. You guys are like, pause? No. Listen. When I was in college, my freshman year, I had a composition class. And composition classes, basically, they're there to teach you how to write collegiate essays. So, like, basically essays that are good enough to essentially be published. You know, you're learning the different styles of essays, as well as just learning to write more efficiently and professionally. So I had a very weird teacher. I love when I get like very awkward teachers or teachers with like little personality, because I just, in my mind, I find like when it comes to people like that, I'm like, man, it is my duty to bring them out of their shell. And I had a professor. Holy shit, that was a really bad stutter. I had a professor. His name was Dr. Llewellyn. He was really cool, very nice guy. And when he spoke like this. Justin, your essay is, well, it's all right. I mean, you can get rid of these sentence fragments and blah, blah, blah. And he'd just go on about, how good or bad my essay is. And he would do this thing. I should say this, just speaking from experience. If you are a teacher, please, for the love of God, do not grade like your students' papers in front of the whole class. Don't read their essays out loud in front of the entire class. It's just, it has to be one of the most humiliating things ever. But like I said, I'm a guy, I don't get embarrassed that often. So I would just run with it. Like, there was one time I sent in an essay and he shit on it so bad that I just remember being like, I was laughing the whole time, and he was like, well, what's so funny, Justin? And I said, oh, nothing. Is there anything else that's bad about this essay? I was like, is there anything else you can think of that is horribly bad and unusable? And he was like, well, not that I can think of. And I just laughed again, and I was like, oh, okay, awesome. So it's just that other stuff that's really bad and sucks. And he'd go, well, yeah. And I would just like, oh God, I would just run with it, because I think if you don't like roll with it, then obviously you're gonna take it to heart. I mean, dude, like, he wasn't saying like, he was never like, oh hey, your essay could use a little work, you could polish up this a little bit, you can do this. It was always like, the way that you talk about this in this one section is actually really bad, and I think it quite stinks, frankly. what you need to do is you need to introduce this earlier on in the essay and bring it back later so that it... So he's tearing you down, but he's also trying to make sure that you do it in a way that reads very well. However, he's an awkward guy that just doesn't understand that his students are also very awkward and don't really know how to ask for things. So anytime there was anytime he would go to basically grade anyone's paper or something like that, or he would ask, you know, who wants to volunteer to have their stuff be read first. I would always go first, and I had people come up to me after the class and tell me like, dude, I'm really glad that you like go first, because he ends up becoming a lot nicer by the end of it. Cause like I remember there's one time he would just grade people's papers like so harshly, and he wouldn't give us like bad grades per se. Like he was very lenient, but like in person, you don't know if he's gonna give you an F. It sounds like he's gonna give you an F the way he's talking about your shit. Like, and that's just how it was like, that's just how he was, I guess. But I was very good at just diffusing him, because I knew that if I show that this doesn't affect me, I just find it kind of hilarious that he's just saying this unprovoked, then, you know, maybe he'll realize like, oh yeah, I am being a little harsh, or I am being a little rude. Because I remember him asking me something along those lines, was like, how do you feel I grade my papers? I'm like, I think you grade them pretty fairly. I mean, are you talking about in class? Because that's like a whole different can of worms. I mean, me and him got along very well. I loved him. I made sure I got him for my Comp 2 class. And he was so, like, as excited as an old man can get, he was very excited to see me, because I think he knew, like, oh, like, I have this person that I can freely shit on that isn't going to care, or isn't going to really take it to heart. So, yeah, that's Dr. Llewellyn. But let me actually get to the heart of the story, which is the thumb sucking. So, there was this girl in my composition. How did you get down here, my friend? Yeah, we gotta get you out of here, buddy. Yeah, come back home. Your family misses you. Alright, we'll just close that up for now. Yeah, at a composition, in my composition class, there was this girl who, how do I say it? She never wrote about facts. She only wrote her opinion on things. And like stuff that she heard, she would quote as like real like sources, basically. So like she'd say something like, we all had really serious topics for our end of the year paper. And mine was like cybersecurity, and basically like how pretty much like every data company in the world keeps track of your location at all times, so that they can literally direct ads at you. And that was my topic, and he really enjoyed my my topic, because everyone I think was doing something kind of different. But it had to do with cybersecurity. I remember that. It had to do with something... Man, get the fuck out of that bed. It had to do something with cybersecurity. And that was my topic. And I can't even remember what her topic was, but it was something like she opened with, many say that opening your browser in incognito mode is bad. But in reality, it actually isn't. Incognito mode can blah blah blah, and she would like quote her friends saying things, which is like insane. I would love if a dictator or like a very popular world leader is like, well, the Pope said that aliens aren't real, so I mean, it's got to be true, right? Like that was her. That was her in general, period. All of her papers were like that. Anytime she got graded, and Dr. Llewellyn had to cover her shit, it was like he would tear her apart. And like sometimes I was like, damn, like he got me bad. No, he fucking hated her papers. And I mean like despised them. That dude fucking hated her papers. So yeah, I mean, shit, dude. Well, there was one day that she came into class, and I didn't know Dr. Llewellyn was chill like that. But she came in one day, she's like, hey, my boyfriend has a free period. Is it okay if he spends, like, a class in here? Like, he just sits in here for the class, and he goes, yeah, as long as he doesn't interrupt me, and he contributes to some conversations, I don't see why not. And so she's like, yippee, awesome, my boyfriend can be in here. So the boyfriend comes in, he's like this tall, lanky dude. And I'm just going to say it, they were a little weird, okay? Keep that in mind. The two of them are a little weird, very strange. He sits down next to her, they talk for a little bit, he starts like grading papers and stuff like that, and then the guy ends up like going to sleep. Like he just puts his head down on the desk and he just like basically sleeps next to her. If I was Dr. Llewellyn, I would fucking kick that bum out of the class. I wouldn't even let him in. I hate to say it, because it's like, first of all, the fact that you think that I would even allow a random student into my class is actually insane. And the fact that you want your boyfriend to sit in here, look, maybe I'm just a hater, and I think I am just a hater, but there is no way on God's green earth that I would ever allow that guy to fucking come in our class. So that's just me. But this guy falls asleep on the desk right next to her, and he's sleeping. I see that he's turned away, like his head is like facing the door. And the door is like in a completely different direction. So I can only see the back of his head. She gets her paper graded. She obviously argues that, why can't I quote my friends as sources? It's true. Many people have said this. That was her defense, was, well, it's true. Many people have said this. And Dr. Llewellyn would he has this like slack jaw expression that he does where he just like bobs his head around like a little bobblehead, and he just goes, oh, well, I need you to actually quote somebody, okay? And he would do that expression all the time. That shit was awesome. Oh man, I'm playing Mr. Firefighter today, rescuing cats and shit. Oh, here, little guy, I got you. You're free to go. Get out. Nice. Okay. So yeah, she's pleading her defense. She's arguing about her paper or whatever. And then the class ends, right? Nothing crazy happens. I think we end up leaving early. Like if you have, your paper turned in, or you know what you're doing, or you don't need any help, or you don't have to ask any questions, then, you can leave early. So I left because I was like, I know what I'm doing. I've already like literally sat down with him and asked him what I need to do and all that stuff. So like, yeah, I'm fine. As I'm walking on my way out, I turn to the boyfriend guy who's right next to the door, by the way. This dude has his whole thumb inside of his mouth, sucking on his thumb while he's sleeping. Now, normally I wouldn't care. But when I say his whole thumb, I'm talking down to the fucking joint knuckle, down to his fucking palm, his whole thumb. And his thumb was huge. Like, I'm talking his thumb was maybe, 5 or 6 inches. It's a big ass thumb. This is a big ass guy. And he's just doing that in class. And I'm like, oh my God, I could not believe my eyes. I could not believe my eyes. Lots of weird things like that happen to me. And usually I'm the one doing the weird thing, but it honestly feels like an episode out of Atlanta sometimes, where it's just like a weird thing will happen and you're just expected to just take it. Like, you're just like, yeah, this is totally normal. What are you talking about? Like, God, dude. Yeah, that's my thumb sucking story. I couldn't fucking believe it, dude. I could not fucking believe it. That shit really got me. My eyes fucking bulged out of my head like a Looney Tunes character. I was like, doing, what? Oh my God. Yeah. So, that's the thumb sucking story. That was one of my topics I had written down. One of the other topics I have written down is my it's about the time I said fuck in front of like 500 people. I might have told this story before. Maybe not. But I'll just say it anyway. So I was an actor for a while. I love acting. I think it's awesome. If I could make money acting, I would definitely be acting right now. But yeah, I was an actor in high school and a little bit through college. And in high school, we had these little festivals that we would attend in the state of North Carolina. And these little festivals were called thespian festivals. And thespians are basically, artists, people of the theater and stuff like that. And it's very serious. This is like what, to sports people, like, this is our conference finals, basically. Like, we're competing against other classes throughout North Carolina to go to state, like, nationals. And so my first year, I didn't know what this thing was. I was like, they're trying to get me to do stuff. They want me to do like a monologue or whatever. And I didn't even know what the fuck monologue meant. So like, I have no idea. I'm like, I'll just go. Is that okay? They're like, yeah, you can do that. I performed in the one act. There's a series of competitions. There's duo scenes, group scenes, monologues, and then one acts. One acts are typically like less than 30 minutes of essentially a play, something like a show. And so I was in my first ever one act. Literally the first ever performance I did was in front of like 300 people. I was so fucking sweaty. Like, I was so terrified because it was my first time really ever performing. I loved it. It was awesome. And the amount of people that said really nice things to me afterwards, like, man, it was just so fucking awesome. That's a moment I'll never, like, get tired of. Is like my first ever performance being that. Because everything after was so much, like, so easy. Like, when you perform in front of a lot of people and that's your first time, or you just perform in front of a lot of people, period, all you have to do is think to yourself, this is nothing like when I had to perform in front of all those people. And then boom, you have your fucking brain hack for whatever you need that for. Like, I was just never afraid of public speaking ever again after that. Like, what do I have to be afraid of? I performed in front of like 300 people. I'm fine. So we participated in these one acts, and And the Thespian Festival had like a bunch of workshops and stuff like that. And one night they had this like really fun thing that took place, and it was an open mic for other artists. Like, man, all these kids had fun. They'd go up there, they'd say their piece. Some people were just basically saying thank you to the teachers and to the people who are like running the event and stuff like that. And then there are people who would sing, or they would perform something, or they would read something. And I really wanted to read something. One of my favorite poets, his name is Shane Koikson. Very, very talented writer. He had this poem, it's called like Louie or something like that. It's about a little kid in a hospital room suffering from cancer. And just saying that alone is like, I think you guys know what's going to happen. I read a fucking poem about a little boy who has cancer, and this guy who's basically forced to like live next to this kid in this operating room because he also has cancer. I'm pretty sure you guys are about to understand why this is such a bad idea, because first of all, everyone's here to celebrate and have fun, not get super uber depressed and really upset. And like there could also be people with cancer. Like oh yeah, I had no concept of the word tone. Tone, or yeah, maybe. Oh god, dude. It's the more I think about it, the more I'm like, oh my god. There's so many things wrong with that. But I did it anyway, because I'm a baller and I don't give a fuck. So let me tell you what happens. I go up. I have the poem pulled up on my phone. Oh god, this is so embarrassing. I have the poem pulled up on my phone. And I start reading. I basically say like, hey, I'm really nervous. This is really like my second time ever performing. I did a one act earlier and it went really well. And I just want to say thank you to, the people from my school introducing me to this, and the people here being so friendly. And everyone's like, aw, like this guy's so sweet. Aw, that's so cute. And then I was like, this is a poem called Louie by one of my favorite poets named Shane Koikson. Please enjoy. And I continued. Maybe I should just do the outline first. I think that's what I'm going to do. So I started the poem. And, it starts typical for like a lot of spoken word poems. It's got that bombastic kind of like, yeah, I'm the guy, this is me. And then eventually it gets into like the serious subject matter. And there was a part in the poem I didn't remember, because I was so fucking nervous, because this is my second time ever really doing anything in front of such a large group of people. And I didn't know, but I also knew at the same time, if that makes sense. There is an F-bomb in the poem. Mind you, this is a high school, and I didn't know that there was Catholic high schools there in attendance also trying to perform that want a safe and not vulgar environment for their students. And I was like, I don't know if I should say this. It has an F word in here. And I just looked around at the audience. And all the students, I think a lot of people really liked, what I was reading. So there was a majority of people that were like, yeah, say it, just say it, man. Yeah. And then there was the Catholic schools and the parents and the teachers that were like, no, don't say it. And I said, fuck. In front of these people, I was like, okay, fuck. And I fucking said it in front of all those people and the teachers and the students. I said it in front of everyone. And that's because I'm brave enough to do it, actually. I'm just kidding. That's my cope. Someone had to say it, and it had to be me. No. I said it. I didn't realize how bad it was until years later. I'm talking, I didn't even realize that what I did was a bad thing until years later. I was a senior in high school, and I became one of the officers that basically that ran the festival. And so there was one night we had like a dance, and the dance ended up replacing the open mic. And I remember asking my theater teacher, I'm like, man, why don't we do open mics anymore? And she was like, oh, well, because last time, we had a lot of people say some kind of vulgar things. And I didn't realize she was talking about me. So I was like, of course. Like, yeah, I guess, you give someone something, like, obviously, maybe that's what's going to happen. And she was like, Justin, I'm talking about you. I was like, what? She was like, you don't remember getting up there and saying the F word in front of, like, everyone? And I was like, oh my God. No, I don't remember. Oh my God. I ruined it for everyone without even realizing. I'm sure there were people that actually very much enjoyed the open mics, and I took it all away, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but at the same time, I'm not sorry because, well, I said my piece. I think some people liked it, so c'est la vie. It's in the past. What can you do? So, yeah, that was the time I said fuck in front of a large group of people that definitely did not want me to say the word fuck. I forgot I was even telling another story on top of that. When I was a senior, I was running the festival with a bunch of other people who were also in charge as well. And what ended up happening was we had a dance, essentially. So we had this dance take place. And the dance happened. We had a bunch of clean versions of very popular songs. Like we had Broccoli, we had Bodak Yellow. Like these were songs that were really popular at the time. And yeah, like they didn't have the curse words in it for obvious reasons because we didn't want there to be curse words like being sang in front of people who don't want to hear the curse words. Shocking, I know. Weird that it took me this long to realize that people are sensitive to certain topics and stuff like that. So yeah, we had the clean versions in, but the students were still saying the explicit version. Like they were still singing the curse words, even though there weren't any actual curse words. And so we had some parents as well as the actual like teachers and stuff that were helping run the event come up to us and say like, hey, we need you to, get the students to stop cursing. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know that they were doing that. So we basically had, I was like, I saw the dark like grass and I was like, is it sunsetting already? Dude, I need to like, never mind. Let me just finish this story so I don't lose track again. And so we got these requests to hey, please stop playing these songs that feature cursing, please. Okay, yeah, sure. So we did that, and then they were still saying it anyway. Like, it didn't matter what we did. And so I got on the microphone to address everyone. And I said, hey, everyone, I just want to let you guys know that we're playing the clean versions for a reason. And if you guys can please, like, tone down your language. We have a lot of people here who are very sensitive to that stuff. Like, just tone it down a little bit so that everyone can have fun and not feel, alienated. And I guess I guess this is my first time dealing with like mob mentality, but what happened immediately after that, I don't know what I expected. I should have expected this to happen rather than a group of kids, a group of teenagers, I should mention, to actually listen to me. Um, the second I said that, they started a fuck chant. They were all chanting the word fuck. Like, they started chanting it. They chanted it for like 2 minutes and then they stopped. And then they continued the dance. And I was like, well, I told them, I tried to warn them. I even told them, like, if you continue to do this, like, there might not even be a dance next year. So, let's tone it down a bit. And they didn't listen, and they ended up losing their little school dance the next year. So, gotcha, bozos. I tried to warn you. I did try to warn you guys. Yeah, crazy shit, man. The shoe was on the other foot. A literal generational curse I had placed upon myself. Now I was the person having to deal with it. And I realized, like, in that moment, I was like, oh my god, this is what it must have been like to hear me say fuck in front of all those people. Oh, man. Yep. I've done some crazy things. And nothing... When I say crazy, I mean, like, I've just done really crazy, embarrassing things. And when I retell them, it makes me cringe. But it makes me smile because I know that there is, like, literally no chance now that I could do something as cringy as that was.